Hello viewers, I'm going to, this video is going to be on the top 10 quarterbacks of the 2011 and 2012 season, or 2011 regular season, which would be last year. And so, let's get on the countdown. And I'm doing the countdown by statistics, you know, where I think people should really be ranked, not by who I like best or who I think should be in that position. And at number 10, we have the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton last year had 20 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, over 3,000 yards. And I don't know a lot about the Cincinnati Bengals. I got a buddy that likes them, who knows a lot about them, but that's where I ranked him in my countdown. Is at number 10. So I'm not going to say too much about Andy Dalton because I don't know. Last year was his first year. I think he did pretty good for a rookie. And at number 9, quarterback for the San Diego Chargers, Philip Rivers. Rivers, I think, is a pretty accurate quarterback. He doesn't have one of the strongest arms in the NFL, though, but he seems to have pretty good completion every year. And again, I don't know a lot about Rivers. I focus on certain teams, and that's it. But Rivers had 27 touchdowns last year and 20 interceptions. And that's why I'm putting him at number 9. At number 8, quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger had 21 touchdowns last year and 14 interceptions. And Ben Roethlisberger, I watched him a pretty good amount of time, a lot, and he seems to, over any other quarterback in the NFL, he seems to make those long passes. He seems to throw it downfield the most out of any quarterback I've seen for some reason, time after time in every game. He's one of the biggest quarterbacks. Actually, he is the biggest quarterback in the NFL compared to his height and weight. He's very hard to take down. And I don't know. I like Big Ben. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. But at number 7, quarterback for the New York Giants, Eli Manning. I do not like either of the Mannings. I can stand Peyton more than Eli. But Eli Manning, the thing about him that I've seen, I watch him a lot because his games are on a lot. But Eli, if he's on, he's on. If he's off though. But when he is on, he's hard to stop. Eli Manning had 29 touchdowns last year and 16 interceptions. He had over 4,000 yards, almost 5,000 yards last year. But he is at number 7 in my countdown. At number 6, we have quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan had 29 touchdowns last year and 12 interceptions. He had over 4,000 yards. I personally think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Ever since he came into the league, I've liked him. He's a pretty accurate quarterback. And he's the only quarterback in the history of the NFL that his first pass went for a touchdown. I remember watching that game. At number 5, this is probably the one that a lot of viewers will not agree with me with, but what the stats show, and this is where I put him. Quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Romo. Tony Romo, I've seen a lot of articles on the internet and on YouTube, people talking about they think he's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. I personally don't think so. I don't like the Cowboys, but I would have to say Tony Romo, just like Matt Ryan, I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Last year he threw for 31 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Not a bad year. He had a 63% completion. He had over 4,000 yards. And a quarterback shoot for 25 touchdowns in a season. So he had pretty good stats. He seems to be able to bring his team back though when they're ever down deficits. He's not good under pressure though. He's not. His consistency falls dramatically when he's under pressure. But he's at number 5 in my countdown. At number 4, quarterback for the Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford had 41 touchdowns last year, 16 interceptions. And in his first year, he's the only quarterback to throw for over 5,000 yards. I think Matthew Stafford, give him time, he'll probably be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, especially with a receiver like Calvin Johnson, a.k.a. Megatron. Again, I don't know a lot about Matthew Stafford because, last year was his full year. He's been hurt for the first 2 years he played, or 3 or whatever. But I don't know all about him. He's at number 4 in my countdown. At number 3, quarterback for the New England Patriots, Tom Brady. Tom Brady threw for 39 touchdowns last year. He had 12 interceptions. And he had over 5,000 yards. That was his first year. He threw for over 5,000 yards. He had a 65% completion. I've never been a Patriots fan, and I don't really care for Brady. But like I said, I'm not doing the countdown by who I like or who I think should be there. It's by stats, who I think they should be ranking. And Tom Brady has to be in the top 3. At number 2, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees. Drew Brees had the most touchdowns last year out of any quarterback. He had 46 touchdowns, and he beat Dan Marino's record for yards in one season. 4,000, almost 5,500 yards. I don't want to say 4,000, but over almost 5,500 yards. And he had a 71% completion, which is very good for a season. Drew Brees, I think, is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, hands down. He's not a very big guy either. He's like 6 feet, something like that. But he's number 2. At number 1, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers last year had 45 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a 68% completion, and almost 4,700 yards. He's number 1. He set a quarterback rating last year, the best in the NFL, 122.5. He had an amazing year last year. And I just think if he's not number 1, something wrong. His stats show it, and not just because he's on my team, as you can see with my hat, but he's at number 1 for me last year, the 2011 season. And I know a lot of you aren't going to agree with me on this top 10 countdown, but this is just where I've listed the quarterbacks. Probably the most comments I'll get is for Tony Romo at number 5, I assume, but you never know. And I'm going to make a video on the top 10 quarterbacks of the 2012 regular season too, so I'll get to that after the season's probably done. And this is my video, so leave comments below. See you.